Welcome back. All right, busiest night thus far of the regular season. 11 games, they're all on the board. Saturday is going to be busy too, but the hockey's spread out throughout the day, so that's a little bit different. I also wanted to give a shout out to this tablet that I bought. That tablet really helped. I put a seventh game on next to me while I'm scrolling through 6 games on the television. And then I also put a game on my laptop so that technically I have 3 screens on hockey at once. It worked out pretty darn well. I have to say, yeah, it feels like it worked out pretty darn well. That being said, we're still early in the season. We'll see if my energy continues throughout the rest of the regular season. I certainly hope so. All right, so first up, we're going to talk about LA and Montreal. Montembeault continues to be quite the story for Montreal, even though this was not a victorious game for Montreal. Riddick had a bounce-back game, which he needed to have after the last one, but it's Riddick versus Montembeault. The fans call when the referee does not. That was a feature of the first period. Fogel's denied on a rush. Shots are 3-1 for LA, 2.5 minutes in. The Kings press at 5.5 minutes. Montreal opens the scoring. Barron buries a wraparound. Caulfield and Suzuki with the assists at 7:02. 1-0 Montreal. The fans call when the referee doesn't. Fiala's then robbed on a fast break, and then things get pushy as now Montreal gets a power play, but LA kills that off. And then after that power play's done, the fans call another, and the referee does not. So referee really wasn't listening to the fans tonight. Shots are 10-5 for the Kings with 6 minutes left. The Habs press with 4 minutes left. And basically, if Montembeault sees it, he saves it. And I guess LA read my board because Anderson, it goes past the screen and it deflects in. Gavrikov and Kempe with the assists at 18 minutes and 20 seconds. It's 1-1 after the first period. Second period, 1 minute and 37 seconds in, Laferriere scores from Spence and Turcotte. So he's off to a very good start to the season. Habs press at 4 minutes. We get a power play for the Habs. That turns into 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. The Kings press at 8 minutes. The shots are 3 apiece at 8.5 minutes. We get a power play for Montreal. That's killed off with 53 seconds left. The Habs get another. So that rolls over into the third period with the Kings ahead 2-1. And that power play is killed off to start the third. The Kings then draw a power play. Moore's denied and close. That power play is killed off. There was a penalty shot for Fiala. Montembeault saves that because, again, if he sees it, he saves it. Shots are 6-2. For the Kings at the half. Doc to Newhook, there's a near miss there. The Habs press with 5.5 minutes left, but it's 17:02. England, it's a point shot and it's past a screen. Byfield with the assist makes it 3-1 for LA. With 1:48 left, with the goalie already pulled, the Habs get a power play, so that makes it a 6-on-4. Montreal calls a timeout before it starts, but Kempe hits the empty net. It's a shorthanded empty netter. Gavrikov and Kopitar with the assists at 19-12. The LA Kings win this one 4-1. They go to 2-1-2 on the season. Montreal drops to 2-3 on the season. Your 3 stars, Laferriere, Byfield, and Hudson. Shots on net, 12-9 LA in the first, 11-8 Montreal in the second, 12-7 LA in the third. Final shots, 32-27 for LA. Power plays, the Kings 0-2, Montreal 0-5. The hits, 34-25 Montreal. Riddick saves 26 out of 27. Montembeault 28 saves on 31 shots. All right, next up, New Jersey and Ottawa. So it's Markstrom versus Forsberg. We very nearly had a Tony the Tiger Magnet, but we don't get there. Early jump for the Devils. There's a power play for Ottawa. That's killed off. The shots are 3-2 for Ottawa, 5 minutes into the period. The Sens press at 8 minutes. The Devils press at 9.5, but they're kept to the outside. The shots are 6 apiece with 7.5 minutes left. So pretty evenly played first period. He sure has a near miss as the Devils press. Then there's a post for Noah Gregor on a rush. There's a delay for a glass issue, but they got that done pretty fast. And it was one of those shots that cracks the glass. So that's impressive if you can crack the glass at a hockey game. The Devils press with 2 minutes left, but it's scoreless after 1. Second period, early power play for the Devils. And just after it ends, Howla tips one in to make it 1-0 New Jersey. Kovacevic and Meyer with the assists at 2:39. So Kovacevic continues this ridiculous run scoring-wise. I've never seen this from him before. We then get a power play for Ottawa. So they're looking to answer. Instead, Nathan Bastian on a shorthanded goal, I believe it was a breakaway too at 6:26 via a turnover, makes it 2-0. Then, more importantly, the Devils finish the kill. We then get a power play for the Devils. Giroux tried to do what Bastian had done. He hits the post shorthanded on a rush. That power play is killed off. Devils press in the final minute. They're up 2-0 after 2. Third period. Hamonic's denied early. The Sens had the early edge. Lots of near misses for Ottawa. The shots are 7-1 for the Sens, only 3.5 minutes into the period. Sens press at 6 minutes, but the shots that they were getting, New Jersey starts getting a little better about A, blocking him, and B, getting the puck the other way, including a goal by Paul Cotter. Yeah, he gets another one. Hamilton and Dillon with the assists at 12:39. I believe that's the first point for Dougie Hamilton on the season. Shots are 8 apiece with 6 minutes left, showing you that after it was 7-1 Sens, it's then 7-1 the shots in favor of New Jersey. 2:41 left. The Sens get a power play, which becomes a 6-on-4, and they score on it. Brady Tkachuk with his first goal of the season. Giroux and Sanderson with the assists at 18:56. Sens call a timeout. They are unable to generate another goal. New Jersey wins 3-1. They go to 5-2 on the season, and Ottawa drops to 2-2 on the year. 3 stars, Markstrom, Howla, and Cotter. The shots on net, 9 apiece in the first, 14-10 New Jersey in the second, 12 apiece in the third. Final shots, 35-31 for New Jersey. The power plays, 0 for 2 for New Jersey, 1 for 3 for Ottawa. The hits, 27-22 for Ottawa. Markstrom, excellent night for him, 30 saves on 31 shots. Forsberg, 32 saves on 35 shots. Nice bounce back from the last time that Forsberg was in the net, but still, Ottawa not able to get the victory tonight. All right, next up, Vegas and Tampa. I thought this was going overtime, and then it didn't. So, Hill versus Vasilevsky, early edge for Tampa. The shots are 2-0 for the Bolts at 4 minutes, but Vegas scores on their first shot. It's Braden McNabb. He just kind of walks in and wires it. Stone and Eichel with the assists at 5:26. Bolts then look to respond. Vegas presses at 7.5 minutes, but eventually Tampa does respond. Mosier with his first goal as a Bolt. He goes 5-hole in a net drive. Atkinson and Lilleberg with the assists at 10:21. So 2 of the 3 that combined on that, newish members of the Tampa Bay Lightning. The shots are 5-4 Vegas with 9 minutes left. Vegas presses. They're kept to the outside. Tampa Bay gets some pressure with 7 minutes left. We then get a power play for Vegas, and they score on it. It's Dorofeev from Theodore and Eichel at 15:20. It was a one-timer from the right circle. Tampa Bay gets that back in the closing seconds. At 19:47, it's who else? Nikita Kucherov from Jake Gensel. It's 2-2 after the first. Second period, Asimont to Girgensons. There's a near miss there. And then at 1:59 on a rush, Barbashev buries one in close. Theodore with the assist gives Vegas a 3-2 lead. We then get a power play for the Golden Knights. That's killed off. The teams trade rushes. There was a crossbar for Hedman past a screen. Kucherov's robbed twice in rapid-fire fashion by Aiden Hill. Shots are 9-5 Vegas with 5 minutes left. With 2:13 left, the Bolts get a power play. And that becomes 1 minute and 10 seconds of 5-on-3. So Vegas holds on there. There's 37 seconds left in the Tampa power play to start the third period. And Vegas kills that off. Then Vegas gets a power play shortly thereafter, which Tampa Bay kills off too. Then there's a post for a point on a rush, so the post's getting a workout tonight for Tampa. The Bolts press at 7 minutes. The shots are 5 apiece at 7.5 minutes, and it looked like Vegas was going to hold on. But at 17:38, Brandon Hagel scores. That one from Chaffee and Mosier. And again, I was like, okay, so, I got ready for overtime and everything in this one. And no. At 19:05, who is it in the last minute? It's Nikita Kucherov from Hedman and Mosier. So Mosier with 3 points tonight. He does get into the 3 stars of what is a 4-3 win for Tampa. Tampa's now 3-0 on the season. For the Vegas Golden Knights, they are 3-2 and have lost their last 2. 3 stars are Kucherov, Mosier, and Point. The shots on net, 10-9 Vegas in the first, 10-9 Vegas in the second, 7-5 for Tampa in the third. Final shots, both teams had 25. Power plays, Vegas 1 for 3, Tampa Bay 0 for 2. The hits, 22-16 Tampa. Aiden Hill saves 21 out of 25. Vasilevsky saves 22 out of 25. And that's just the difference between a win or a loss tonight between these teams. But yeah, highly entertaining. All right, moving on. Vegas is here. Vancouver's here. Vancouver in against Florida. Entertaining game. So it's Lankinen versus Bobrovsky. I've talked about how much I like Kevin Lankinen. I'm glad he's playing well for Vancouver. No egg on my face. Thank you very much, Mr. Lankinen. Early press by the Canucks. The Canucks had the only shot on net at 3 minutes. I thought early on defensively, the Canucks were doing pretty well at containing a containing a Florida team that, yes, was without Barkov and without Tkachuk. Hoglander to Pedersen gets picked off. Canucks aren't really giving Florida much room, though. When they get those transition plays, the Canucks doing a good job of keeping to the outside. We then get a power play for Vancouver. That's killed off. And at 11:42, Vancouver does open the scoring. It's Teddy Bluger from Sherwood and DeBrusk. So that's Sherwood's first point as a Canuck, but Florida gets it right back. 11 seconds later, Jesper Boquist scores from Samoskevich. That is for Samoskevich, first NHL point. Forsling with the other assist. That ties the game at 1. The shots are 5 apiece with 4 minutes left. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of room out there for either team. There's a crossbar for Pedersen. Florida clears because Pedersen right now is snake bit, so he's going to talk about how bad he's playing, but he hits a crossbar there. If that goes bar and in, we'd be talking about his goal, but whatever. Bennett's denied soon after. 3:13 left. The Canucks get a power play. That's killed off. It's 1-1 after the first. Second period. Did the Panthers score in the first minute? It's reviewed, and nope, did not cross the line. Panthers press at 3 minutes. Samoskevich gets robbed on the 2-on-1 rush, so he's looking for his first goal now that he had his first assist. DeBrusk is denied on a rush not long after that, and then Vancouver gets the lead back. It's Quinn Hughes with his first goal of the season. Heinen and Amon with the assists at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Florida challenges said goal, but it counts, so Vancouver gets a power play. We then had a fight between Bluger and Balinskis. That power play was killed off, by the way. Lots of pushing on the whistles in this second period. These teams not liking each other very much coming out of this. But that is kind of Florida's game. The referee is told that he sucks because fans want a power play they're not getting. The Canucks get pinned down, and they take a penalty with 2:01 left. So, yes, the fans chanted, and eventually Florida does draw a power play, and they score on it. Lundell at 19 minutes exactly from Verhaeghe and Reinhart. So Lundell stays red hot. The Canucks do press to close this out. It's 2-2 after 2. Third period. Shots are 4-2 for Vancouver at 6 minutes as I'm browsing around 10 games at this point in the night. The Panthers press at 7.5 minutes. Besser's denied on the rush. Teams exchange rushes after that. The Panthers press with 8.5 minutes left. Things get pushy on a hold by Lankinen. And there's a press by Florida with 1.5 left, but we are going to overtime with score tied at 2. And it is the third time in 4 games Vancouver goes to overtime. So they want to make sure they're earning their money. Canucks controlled early. There's a blocker save on Miller. Panthers take over. They set up. DeBrusk has a net drive then that, well, Tampa Bay takes some issue to, so there's some pushing there. But then on a rush chance, Miller at 2:09 scores for Vancouver. Hughes and Besser with the assists. Vancouver comes out of Florida with a 3-2 victory. In overtime, it's their first win of the season. They go to 1-1-2 on the year. For Florida, 3-2-1 with the overtime loss. Your 3 stars are Miller, Lankinen, and Bobrovsky. Shots on net, 9-4 Vancouver in the first, 15-10 Florida in the second, 11-9 Vancouver in the third. And they had all 3 shots in overtime, including the shot that matters. Final shots, 33-28 for the Canucks. Power plays, Vancouver 0 for 2, Florida 1 for 1. The hits, 41-35 Vancouver. Florida is playing a very physical game, and they're forcing their opponents into it as well. Vancouver more than willing to accommodate them there. Lankinen saves 26 out of 28. Bobrovsky saves 30 out of 33. That being said, I do need to change boards. All right, Dallas and Washington. So Dallas is no longer undefeated, and Washington being their pesky selves. Long stretches tonight where they weren't getting shots, but they don't really care. It is still a Washington team that if they're not getting shots, they're like, eh. When you hear Craig Laughlin saying, oh, they're playing their game and they're playing it well, and they don't have a shot halfway through the first period, if you've watched enough Caps games, you totally get it, and he's not wrong. So it's DeSmith versus Lindgren. We get a power play for the Caps. That's killed off. The only shot on net was for Dallas 5 minutes in. 8 minutes in, there's still no shots for the Caps. The Stars press at 9 minutes. We get a power play for Dallas. There's an early clear there. We end up with a 4-on-4 not long after. The Caps end up on the power play, of course, on the other end of it. Wilson has a tip shot that's held, and then forehand, backhand, and in on a breakaway. Blackwell with the goal from Beck at 12:19. It's 1-0 in favor of Dallas. Stars then finish the kill, which is important. Pressed by the Stars with 4.5 minutes left with 3:52 left. There's a power play for the Caps. That becomes 9 seconds of 4-on-4, and everything gets killed off there. So we go to the second period with Dallas ahead 1-0. 55 seconds in, Tom Wilson wipes out that lead. Dubois and McMichael with the assists. Stars press at 3 minutes, but the Caps would get another one to get the lead. It's Strome from Carlson and Protas at 6:15. Johnston has a rush chance, that's defended. We get a power play for Dallas, that's killed off. Caps press with 7.5 minutes left, but eventually Jason Robertson scores at 13:09. Hintz and Johnston with the assists. So it's 2-2, and then Taylor Radish with a beautiful goal at 17:19. I did hear an announcer tonight, like Radish, who thought Radish would get it? Radish had a pretty good season before this past season. Like Radish's last season in Chicago was awful, but the year before that he was a pretty good offensive player, and it looks like he's rediscovered his game with the Caps. They're up 3-2. 2:28 left. The Caps get a power play. That's killed off, but it's 3-2 for them after 2. Third period, the Caps are heading shots 2-1, 3 minutes in. They get some pressure 8.5 minutes in. The Capitals get a power play. That's killed off, but that takes 2 minutes off the clock, so that favors the Capitals. Stars press with 5 minutes left. The goalie pull happens with 2 minutes left, despite some chances Dallas gets. The Caps hang on. They win 3-2. They go to 2-1 on the season. Dallas drops to 4-1 on the season. Your 3 stars are Radish, Wilson, and Robertson. Shots on net, 7-6 Dallas in the first, 12-7 Washington in the second, 10-8 Dallas in the third. Final shots, 26-24 Washington. Power plays, Dallas 0-4, Washington 0-5. The hits, 27-9 for Washington. DeSmith, 23 saves on 26 shots, and Lindgren had 22 saves on 24 shots. I'm honestly kind of surprised Lindgren didn't get one of the 3 stars tonight, because when they needed him in the third period, he was excellent. So there's that. All right, next up, the Buffalo Sabres and the Columbus Blue Jackets. One of 2 games that ended up being 80s games tonight. Levi versus Tarasov in this one. Columbus presses at 2.5 minutes. Kept to the outside, though. The Sabres get some pressure at 4 minutes. Columbus draws a power play, and they score on it. At 5:12, it's Chinikov with his second of the season. This one on the power play, Werenski and Kent Johnson with the assists. Columbus looks for another. Columbus goes back to the power play. That's killed off. There's a press by Columbus with 8 minutes left. Shots are 8-1 for Columbus with 6 minutes left. 3:02 left. The Sabres get a power play. That's killed off. And then at 19:28, the Sabres, with a poorly timed line change, they allow a goal, Marchenko, with that one to make it 2-0 for Columbus after the first. Second period, there's an early press by Buffalo, but we get a power play for Columbus. That's killed off. Then the Sabres, with that killed, they get some pressure at 3.5 minutes. There's a power play for the Sabres. Columbus kills that off. And then at 9:34 on a rush, McLeod goes backhand on that rush and scores. Zucker and Greenway with the assists. Jackets press to respond. We get a press by Buffalo with 9.5 minutes left. And then at 12:18, it's Fantilli scoring from Werenski and Provorov. So for Columbus, if they're going to have a successful season, they're going to need more of this, where their young players are coming through with goals. There is an answer eventually from Buffalo, though. At 17:29 is Kulik getting a goal there. His first NHL goal. It's a point shot he deflects in. Cousins and Yoki Haru with the assist there. Columbus gets it back almost right away, though. Posting in on a net drive for Olivier. Sillinger and Christensen with the assists at 17:58. To Buffalo's credit, they do answer in the final minute. It's 19:35 when a goal is scored by Owen Power. He buries a rebound there. It still shows us no assist on that. I was pretty sure there would be assist by the time I put the board together, but nope. So we go to the third period with the score 4-3 in favor of the Columbus Blue Jackets. 15 seconds in. A point shot past a screen ends up giving a 2-goal lead to Columbus. It's Aston Reese credited with the goal, Christensen and Olivier with the assists. So that's a 5-3 lead in favor of Columbus. Columbus has a 2-on-1 that's broken up. Blue Jackets, or Sabres, I should say, press at 6 minutes. The shots are 7-3 for the Blue Jackets. 8 minutes in. And at 8 minutes and 10 seconds, as I'm writing it on the board, Severson scores from Marchenko. He buries one from the slot on a turnover by Buffalo. Buffalo would get it back late. At 17:51, it's Peterka, who's had a strong start to the season when he's been in the lineup. Thompson and Dahlin with the assists there. Make it a little bit close, and we were a post away from 6-5. It was Peterka that hits the post there. But Columbus wins 6-4. They go to 2-2 on the season. Buffalo, very disappointing start to the season. They are now 1-4-1. It's odd that their only wins against Florida, but hey, this happens. 3 stars, Marchenko, Olivier, and Severson. Shots on net, 9-4 Columbus in the first, 10-9 Buffalo in the second, 10-7 Buffalo in the third. Final shots 25-24 Columbus. Power plays Buffalo 0 for 2, Columbus 1 for 3. The hits, nobody was hitting tonight. 9-6 for Buffalo. This game did not have a lot of hitting. Levi, 19 saves on 25 shots. Not a stat line you want to see for him. And Tarasov, not a lot better, but still better at 20 saves on 24 shots. Entertaining game, sure. Probably giving the coaches conniptions as they're watching that out there. All right, next up, Rangers in Detroit. So it was Quick versus Talbot. Talbot had a strong debut with Detroit as a starter, but tonight, not as much. Panarin has a shot that deflects out. Early jump for the Rangers, and honestly, their attack is fantastic. This is just a bad matchup for Detroit, really is. The Wings are blocking the net well early. We then get a power play for Detroit. That becomes 42 seconds of 5-on-3. DeBrincat whiffs on an open net during that. The Rangers do kill that off. There was a combination of some luck and just being very good. And then Panarin scores at 8 minutes and 30 seconds from Trocheck and Lafreniere. The interesting thing is the shots favor Detroit. The shots are 10-3 for the Wings with 8.5 minutes left. Trouba has a shot that's held as the Rangers press. The Rangers draw a power play, and they score it. They score on it, I should say. Panarin with the goal here. Fox and Trocheck with the assists at 15:39. Very early in the power play, and it's 2-0 Rangers after 1. Second period, Detroit fights back a little. Sider roofs one from the slot. Confer and Raymond with the assists at 1 minute and 27 seconds. Rangers press to respond, and then they end up drawing a power play, and they score on it. This power play, lethal this year, same as last year. It's Trocheck from Panarin and Fox at 8:46. So that makes it 3-1. Shots are 6-4 Rangers at the half. The Rangers go back to the power play, and yeah, they score on it. It's Panarin from Fox and Trocheck at 11:42. So those guys combining a lot tonight. And then at 12:20, not long after, not even a minute, Mancini, during a press, gets his first NHL goal from Kakko and Hedl. It was from a distance, and therefore that ends the night for Cam Talbot. Alex Lyon goes into the net. So that's it for Talbot for today. Another power play for New York. That becomes 4-on-4. Everything's killed off there. It is 5-1 for the Rangers after 2 periods of play. I'd like to thank this game for being lopsided because it made it easier for me to follow a lot of the other stuff going on. Third period, we get a power play for Detroit. There's an early clear. Wings try to set up, but that ends up getting killed off by the Rangers. Shots are 5-4 New York, 9 minutes in. Rangers press with 7.5 minutes left. New York draws a power play. That becomes 4-on-4. There's a net feed to Bergeron that gets picked off, and then on a good cycle on the power play, Confer scores from Sherratt and Gustafsson at 16:41. With 25.9 seconds left, the Wings get a power play, but they're down by a bunch, so they lose this one 5-2. The Rangers 3-0-1 with the win. The Detroit Red Wings 1-3 with the loss. Remember, 2 of those 3 losses are against the Rangers, who are an excellent team. Shots are the 3 stars, Panarin, Trocheck, and Fox. Not a surprise there, they combined on goals. Shots on net, 12-9 Detroit in the first, 14-6 Rangers in the second, 13-11 Detroit in the third. The final shots are 34-31 for the Rangers. Power plays, the Rangers 3 for 4. Detroit 1 for 5. The hits, 20-14 for Detroit. Jonathan Quick, very good first game for him on the season. 29 saves on 31 shots. Talbot saves 14 out of 19. Lyon in relief saves all 15 shots he faces. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say he plays their next game. All right, next up. The last one on this board is the Islanders in St. Louis. And there were large swaths of this game where it just felt like not much was happening. Like the first period, for example. So it's Shesterkin versus Shesterkin. It's Sorokin. Man, I'm sorry, Ranger fans. I traded Shesterkin. I'm fixing that. There we go. Sorokin versus Hofer. Very, very apologetic. I'm sorry. It happens. There's so many names and everything. And I was kind of in a rush, too, to get these boards done. I did my treadmill today, and I had very few minutes left. All right. Anyways, the Islanders had the lone shot on net 3 minutes into the first period. Good board play, I thought, by the Islanders. And honestly, the Blues were doing a pretty good job of preventing shots, too. Blues press at 6 minutes. Both teams blocking the path to the net. Not a whole lot to report anytime I went to this. The shots are only 4-3 in favor of the Islanders with 5 minutes left. So, really, very Islanders first period. No penalties, not a whole lot of shots. Get her done. Second period, shots are 2-1 for the Islanders at 3.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. 2 shots on net. Pressed by the Islanders at 7.5 minutes. They end up going back to the power play. Siplikov is denied late in said power play. That's killed off. Then there's a post for Braden Shen on a rush. So there were opportunities. The Islanders were getting pressure here and there, but nobody was really getting much on the net. And when they did, it ends up hitting a post. Sorokin denies Thomas. The rebound's cleared out. Shots are 12-9 for the Islanders with 5 minutes left. Blues get a power play with 3:45 left. That's killed off. We still don't have a goal after 2. Third period. Early press by the Blues. Neighbors denied. There's some pushing, so we end up with 4-on-4 coming out of that. Horvat's denied from the slot. The shots are 5-4 Islanders, 9 minutes in. Duclair has a chance. That's held. Horvat's then denied from the slot again. So Horvat had some opportunities tonight. Just Hofer said no. Blues press with 5.5 minutes left. The Islanders get some pressure in the final minute. It's 0-0 after 1. So I just put the Tony the Tiger magnet on the board before overtime because either way, somebody's getting a shutout. Blues control early. The Islanders take over. Pulock has a shot that's held. The Islanders then cycle the puck, and the fans are booing them because they're keeping it away from the Blues. But eventually the Blues get it. And on a 3-on-1 rush, Neighbors scores from Broberg and Hofer at 2:04. So Hofer helps to set that up. I thought the Islanders coming back lacked a little bit of, some oomph there. But Blues win this one at home. 1-0 in overtime. They go to 3-2 on the season. The Islanders 1-1-2. So the Islanders, like last year, building up some overtime loss points early, much like the Canucks are doing now. So we'll see how things go from here. But 3 stars: Hofer, Neighbors, and Sorokin. That's how it works with a 1-goal game. Both goalies get a star, and whoever got the goal gets the other star. Easiest 3 stars you can name. Shots on net, 7-6 Islanders in the first. Both teams had 14 shots in the second, 10-8 Islanders in the third. In the overtime, 3-2 in favor of the Islanders. But St. Louis with the shot that matters. Final shots, 34-30 for the Islanders. Honestly, after a pretty slow first period, things were exciting after that. Just no goals to report. Power plays, the Islanders 0 for 2, St. Louis 0 for 1. The hits, 30-23 St. Louis. Sorokin saves 29 out of 30. He was very good. Hofer saves all 34 shots for the shutout. I like the kid. I do. We'll see what he does from here, but I need to change boards. All right, 3-game board to finish this out, starting with Edmonton and Nashville. Pretty intense game here. So it was Pickard versus Saros in this one. Early press by the Oilers. Arvidsson's denied by Saros, so Arvidsson, a former member of the team and all that, he does not get off the schneid tonight. He still does not have a point as an Oiler, but he had chances. Shots are 3-0 Oilers, only 2.5 minutes in. The Oilers end up getting a power play. That's killed off. And it's killed off because Saros. That's the only reason that was killed off. Power play for Nashville. That's killed off. Just the 1 shot on net. Press by Nashville with 9.5 minutes left. And Forsberg would score from Yossi and O'Reilly at 11:48. It's past a screen and deflected in. No chance for Pickard there. Nashville looks for another. They have some momentum. And then we had a fight. Nurse against McCarron. And, the next shift, Edmonton scores. So the fight worked. Kulak scores from Janmark at 11:39. The Oilers press in the final minute, but it's 1-1 after 1. Second period, the Oilers press 4.5 minutes in. We get a power play for Edmonton. It becomes 16 seconds of 5-on-3. Normally they're automatic, but they do not score on the power play. The thing is, they score right after it ends. It's Skinner from Nurse at 10 minutes and 50 seconds. It's 2-1 Edmonton. We then get a 4-minute power play for Nashville. Edmonton almost kills it off, but just before it's going to come to an end, Marchessault scores from Yossi and Saros at 17:45. So goaltenders getting points tonight. The Oilers press for a response. At 18:29, they get it. McDavid buries one in close. Ekholm and Draisaitl with the assists. Makes it 3-2 in favor of Edmonton after 2 periods of play. Third period, the Oilers press at 2.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Oilers. That's killed off. Nashville with some pressure at 6 minutes. The shots are 5-2 Preds, though, at 7 minutes. Janmark has a rush chance. That's defended. Things are pushy on a hold by Pickard. Nyquist is denied and close. The Oilers rush. The Oilers press with 8 minutes left. There's more pushing on a hold by Pickard. There's a toe save on Marchessault, and then the puck's cleared out. Hyman couldn't bury one in close. Saros holds. Hyman still doesn't have a point yet either, does he? Does he have a point at all? I know he doesn't have a goal yet. So, yeah, might be time for me to do a video on players that haven't got points yet. The goalie pull happens with 2:20 left. O'Reilly's denied and close. Yossi prevents an empty netter from Hyman, but Kulak hits the empty net soon after at 19:24. The Oilers win 4-2. They are 2-3. They're pulling themselves out of this early slump. The Preds are not. They're 0-4 to start the season. I mean, I didn't do a panic index this week. I thought about it as kind of a joke because we're only a week into the season, but we'll be doing one next week. Nashville might be in the panic area. 3 stars, McDavid, Kulak, and Yossi. Shots on net, 15-7 Oilers in the first, 13-7 Oilers in the second, 13-8 Nashville in the third. Final shots, 36-27 for the Oilers. Power plays, the Oilers 0 for 4, Nashville 1 for 3. The hits, 30-8 for Nashville, and they were 26-2 at one point. I was like, 26-2. Do the Oilers know they're allowed to hit? So Pickard saves 25 out of 27. Saros saves 32 out of 35. He was very good. This score would have been more lopsided if it wasn't for UC Saros. So, all right. We move on to the next game, which is San Jose and Chicago. I'm just going to say it. This game was entertaining. It was. Last year, these games were not an easy watch. So it's Vanacek versus Mrazek. We get a power play for the Hawks, which lasts 5 seconds. Will Smith then has a chance to saved, and then on a rush, Hall with a goal, and it's his 699th career point. Brody with the assist at 4 minutes and 20 seconds. He goes 5-hole on that one. It's 1-0 for Chicago. Hawks press for another. Zetterlund misses one high on a 2-on-1 rush. We get a power play for the Sharks. That's killed off. The Hawks press with 9 minutes left. The Sharks, they press with 7.5 minutes left. With 1:38 left, the Hawks get a power play. That becomes 40 seconds of 5-on-3. They score during the 5-on-3. It's Bertuzzi from Teravainen and Bedard at 19 minutes and 11 seconds. It's 2-0 Chicago after the first. And then to start the second period at 43 seconds, still on the power play, Foligno scores from Teravainen and Bedard. So Teravainen and Bedard getting some points. And that's definitely changed the attack for Chicago. And now they have a power play. Sharks get a turn on the power play. That's killed off. Shots are 3-1 Chicago 5 minutes in. Hawks draw a power play. Becomes 1 minute and 24 seconds of 5-on-3. San Jose was not very good at staying out of the box tonight. Undisciplined. Then there's a shorthanded break for Cunnin. He's saved, or it's saved on that play. Power play ends up being killed off, so they survive that 5-on-3. But the shots are 10-3 for the Hawks with 6.5 minutes left. Chicago presses with 5 minutes left. The Sharks, they get some pressure with 2 minutes left, and they score. Toffoli at 18-17 from Eklund and Granlund. It was a nice pass and is buried by Toffoli. 1:12 left. The Hawks get a power play. It then becomes 1 minute and 15 seconds of 5-on-3. So that rolls over into the third period. Sharks kill that one. So there were 3 5-on-3s tonight for Chicago. They scored on one of them. Teams trade turnovers, and then at 2:19 off of a turnover, Dickinson buries one in close. Joey Anderson with the assist. San Jose answers less than a minute later at 2:52 at Zetterlund from Granlund and Eklund. So 4-2 score. Sharks then press at 6.5 minutes. In fact, the shots are 5-3 for San Jose at the half. Teams trade rushes. The Sharks press with 6.5 minutes left. The goalie pull happens with 3:23 left. They call a timeout as well, but whatever they discussed, it does not work. Chicago wins this one 4-2. They go to 2-2-1. So early in the season, Chicago's record's not bad. San Jose 0-2-2, so they're still winless. The 3 stars in this one, Bedard, Teravainen, and Foligno. Shots on net, 10-4 Chicago in the first, 13-7 Chicago in the second, 11-4 San Jose in the third. Final shots, 27-22 for Chicago. Power plays, San Jose 0 for 3, Chicago 2 for 7. The hits, 22-13 San Jose. Vanacek saves 23 out of 27. Mrazek saves 20 out of 22 in the Chicago net. But yeah, far more entertaining than any San Jose-Chicago game last year. And I think it shows that Chicago's further along in their rebuild than San Jose at this point. All right, next up. Last game of the night, Philadelphia and Seattle. So why not make it an 80s game? At the very least, this had my undivided attention, thus the more notes. Fedotov versus Grubauer. Fedotov, his numbers aren't looking fantastic early this year. Early press for the Kraken, but the shots are only one apiece 3.5 minutes in. At 4:21, Lawton buries a wraparound. That's only the second shot on net. Paling and Hathaway with the assists. It's 1-0 Philly. Kraken look to respond. We get a power play for Seattle. That's killed off. Then there's too many Kraken on the ice, so the Flyers get the power play. Tippett misses. The next chance for Tippett is saved. Tippett is just having a hard time this year. That power play is killed off, but the Flyers get another power play, so Seattle goes fine. We'll kill that off as well, and they did. Shots are 6-5 for the Flyers with 4 minutes left. Paling's denied on a wraparound. Kraken press with 2.5 minutes left, and at 18:15, Montour goes 5-hole past a screen. Stevenson and Evans with the assists. And the fact that it's past a screen is one thing, but the fact that they kept going 5-hole is a problem. When a goaltender can't see the puck, they should be protecting the lower part of the net because most shots are at the lower part of the net. So I don't think that Tortorella is going to be all that impressed tonight. Philly gets it back, though, at 18:58. It's Lawton roofing one on a net drive. Hathaway and Paling with the assist. So Hathaway, Paling, Lawton combining on 2 goals in that first period. It's 2-1 for Philadelphia. Second period, early press by Seattle. Tippett fires one wide on a rush. We then get a power play for the Kraken, and they score on it. McCann, 5-hole, pass to screen again. Burakovsky and Dunn with the assists at 3:06. Tolvanen nearly gives Seattle the lead on the next shift. Shots are 7-1 Seattle 7 minutes in. We get a power play for the Kraken. There's a shorthanded rush by Konechny. He's denied there. Power play's killed off. Kraken press after it's done. There's a kick save on a Cartier rush. 2 minutes of 4-on-4 happens. This game gets a little chippy at times. There's a near miss for Frost as the Flyers press. And then at 14:57, Tolvanen, after being denied earlier, he's not denied here. He scores from Burakovsky and right. He buries a rebound during a good press by Seattle. And while they're announcing, not yet, I'm ahead of myself. At 17:44, I'll get it to it on the next goal. Eberle scores from McCann and Gordon. It's a tic-tac-toe play. It's buried in close. And then as they're announcing the goal, 8 seconds later, Seattle scores again. Right from Eberle and McCann. So right with his first goal of the season. And that's only a few minutes after he got his first assist of the season. I believe so. I don't think he had a point yet this year. But yeah, Wright had a decent night. And it's 4 goals in the second period for Seattle. The score in this one, 5-2 after 2. Third period. Ersson was in net to start the third period. They were trying to save him for the home opener on Saturday against Vancouver. He had to play the third period instead. Power play for Seattle, that's killed off. Michkov couldn't bury one on a rush. He was prominent in this game. Decent game for him. Kraken go back to the power play. Philly kills it off, and then they get a power play. That was killed off. Pretty aggressive penalty kill by Seattle there. And then York roofs one from the slot at 10:19. Lawton and Brink with the assists. Gord kicks one in, so no goal, and they knew right away it wasn't a goal. And so there's a lot of punching to celebrate that. Konechny, who got hurt in the second period, came back in the third. He went after Tanev, but in the end he ends up pairing off with Gord. Pretty good tilt. Flyers come out of that with a power play, and they score on it. It's Drysdale. It's a face-off win and buried Michkov with the assist at 12:31. And so all of a sudden this is getting a little bit close. It's 5-4. The Flyers pressed to tie it, but at 14:51, just the Flyers were all offense. They weren't worried about the defensive side, so Bjorkstrand makes them pay. On a breakaway, he wires one Schwartz and Larson with the assist. No chance for Ersson there. The goalie pull happens with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. The Flyers call a timeout with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. It does not matter. Your final score in this one, 6-4 for Seattle. They go to 2-2 with the win. Philadelphia 1-2-1 with the loss. And again, it's another 80s game. So we had 2 of those tonight and 1 Tony the Tiger Magnet. 3 stars are McCann, Wright, and Eberle. Shots on net, 11-9 Philly in the first, 15-5 Seattle in the second, and then 7-5 Philly in the third. Final shots, 29-23 for Seattle. Power plays Philadelphia 1 for 4. So that power play has improved this year. Seattle 1 for 5 on theirs. Hits 27-20 in favor of Philadelphia. Fedotov saves 19 out of 24. Not a great night for him. Ersson saves 4 out of 5. He had no chance on that goal there by Bjorkstrand. And Grubauer, not a great night for him, but they win. 19 saves on 23 shots. So there you go. A 6-goal night for Seattle. Maybe they'll get back to the scoring they had a couple seasons back when they made the playoffs. We shall see. Let me know your thoughts regarding tonight's games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a lot. I will talk to you again soon.